wanted the W. You weren't just coming to show up, is what you're saying. And while you can be pleased with how you did, ultimately, do you feel like you were robbed of a victory?
Yes.
All this hype about Ngannou being such a humble guy. He's not a humble guy. He's kind of a jerk. I don't want to say he's a bad guy. He seems like a nice guy, and I wouldn't want to mess with him, obviously. I'm not saying he's not like an amazing athlete. But in terms of boxing, he needs to be more humble because he didn't look like a great boxer. Now, it wasn't the most beautiful fight I've ever seen. In fact, it was downright awkward. But Tyson Fury, in my opinion, deserved the win, and he did indeed get a split decision. But nonetheless, he won the fight. And a lot of people find that controversial and they disagree, and I think that's all good. It's certainly legitimate to debate the merits of a decision in a boxing fight. However, those who are arguing that Ngannou won don't really have the facts on their side. And furthermore, I hate to say it, but this guy, Ngannou, is a sore loser. He's going around saying that, he was robbed and the judges weren't fair.
Basically, after that performance, you would have hoped for the judges to be fair, right? And to have that victory.
And it's like, hey, you hardly threw any punches out there, and you didn't really look that hot. I mean, the guy's obviously a strong guy, and he was able to knock out Tyson Fury in the third round. But, if Tyson Fury didn't get up, then that would be one thing. In fact, some people contend that Ngannou hit Tyson Fury in the back of the head, which would make that knockout pretty controversial, seeing as that's not like a valid punch. And, we can debate that too. But, there's some allegations that Fury hit Ngannou with an elbow, and it's like, well, I guess it's pretty much a wash. ESPN has a highlight reel, and naturally they have the third round knockout. They also have a clip of Fury supposedly hitting Ngannou with an elbow, and then they just have other times when Ngannou had some good combinations on Fury. And then you look at the comments and everyone's like, oh my God, Ngannou won this fight. I mean, I just watched the highlights and I can see that he got robbed. Well, small problem is that the highlights don't actually represent what happened in the fight. And basically, during the whole fight, Fury was in control. And he was kind of jabbing and moving, and he didn't look great. But it was like, if you look at the punch stats, Tyson Fury threw more punches and he landed more punches. If you watch the whole fight, it's like Ngannou didn't really throw that many punches. And he was very awkward. Even Tyson Fury even said that in an interview after the fight, that it was kind of awkward fighting Ngannou. And I think that's why Fury was off his game a little bit. I don't mean to take credit away from Ngannou, that, perhaps he did a good job. And I mean, at minimum, I'll give it to him that he's a very heavy hitter. Like, you don't want to get punched by this guy, certainly. And there are fighters like that where their whole MO is just to throw the big punch, okay? And you don't want to get hit by the big punch. However, he did not knock Tyson Fury out. It went to decision. And when that happens, then it goes to the fighter who just technically fought a better fight. And it's like, who landed more jabs. And in that perspective, Fury clearly won. And if you watch the fight from beginning to end, that's also clear. And fine, okay? I mean, if people are fans of Ngannou and they're disappointed, that's fine. But my problem is that Ngannou himself is not accepting defeat very graciously. And in fact, I dare say that he's a sore loser. He's a sore loser. He's saying the judges were unfair. He's saying that he got robbed. He's saying, I don't see how the judges could have possibly said that. It's like, try to look at it from a different view. You really didn't do anything out there in the ring besides a few good shots. He didn't look good, just from a style-wise. He looked very, as I say, awkward. His stance was almost like an insect. He kind of had his paws in front of him in a weird stance, and he was kind of trying to paw away Tyson Fury's jabs. And of course, I should mention that Ngannou is an MMA fighter. But yeah, he was an MMA fighter, and he holds the UFC heavyweight title in MMA. I don't follow MMA. I don't really like it. This gives you a little more context to understand why he just didn't look like a professional boxer. I mean, there were times when he kind of like tried to almost tackle Fury, like he tried to pull him to the floor. So it was not a good look. And admittedly, Tyson Fury did not look so hot himself. But I think part of that was just he's just responding to fighting someone who doesn't really fight like a real boxer. Almost like if you're trying to argue with someone who doesn't, argue according to logic, you both end up looking stupid. You can't do it. But I think Tyson Fury should have had kind of a better game plan or a better response to whatever Ngannou was doing. One of the interesting things that Tyson Fury said after the fight is we really didn't know how to study Ngannou because there's no reel of him boxing because he's not a boxer. However, that is also somewhat of a misnomer because apparently Ngannou started his career as a boxer and then switched to MMA and then switched back to boxing. So it's not like he's a total novice and just fell into this. He did have a background in boxing. And he was trained by Tyson for the fight. Like Tyson was his trainer, and Mike Tyson has this up on his YouTube channel, some clips of that, and it's very cool to see. It's mostly cool to see Tyson still, hitting the punching bag, and he looks amazing. And Ngannou looked good too in the training, but there was nothing I saw in those training clips that translated to the fight. In the actual fight, Ngannou did not seem to be a student of Mike Tyson. He was just like a student of, I don't know, just trying to avoid any hits, trying to avoid getting punched. So, I think it was a good project for Mike Tyson. I love to see him involved in boxing and training. And then ironically, Tyson Fury, of course, is named after Tyson. As I say, pretty much throughout, especially in the midsection of the fight, Tyson Fury took control. And he was knocked down, but he got right back up. Tyson Fury can take a punch. It might have been on the back of his head. And it's like, he's been knocked out before, so it's not like, Mike Tyson's first 25 fights, he was never knocked out and he was never phased. I mean, let's be honest, Tyson Fury has been knocked out. He's met the canvas in his trilogy against Deontay Wilder's. He was knocked out several times in those fights, but he just got up and started fighting again. And he just has a very workmanlike style of boxing. He jabs. He's humongous. He's a humongous guy. And he didn't look great out there, but he looked okay. And he defended his title, and he did it honorably. So my take is that Ngannou is a sore loser. He should give Tyson Fury some credit and try to be a little more gracious. Tyson Fury needs to sharpen up, and I hope he looks a little bit more fresh on his next fight. My name is Michael McCara. Thank you so much for watching.